Now, if you enjoyed this story and want to see more HOA drama, outrageous neighbor tales, and epic property battles, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps keep these stories coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned, because the world of neighborhood drama is just getting started. The moment my HOA demanded I unlock my gate, I realized just how little control I had over my own property. They thought they could dictate who entered and exited my home, but I had a plan brewing, one that would turn the tables in the most unexpected way. What they didn't know was that a simple gate dispute could escalate into a battle over control, ownership, and justice, and I was about to rewrite the rules entirely. Stay with me, because this story isn't just about a gate, it's about taking power back, one road at a time. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on wild HOA stories like this one. If you've ever dealt with overbearing neighbors or thought about standing up for your rights, this story is going to blow your mind. Grab a seat because this is one for the books. It all started on a quiet afternoon when I received the dreaded HOA notice. I was ordered to unlock my front gate. They insisted it blocked access to a road the entire neighborhood used daily. The letter was formal, intimidating, and strangely aggressive, but it was clear they thought they had ultimate authority over my property. I had always kept my gate closed for privacy and security, but the HOA claimed the community's convenience outweighed my rights. The absurdity of it sparked an idea. If they wanted control, I would take control on a much bigger scale. I began researching property laws, easements, and any loopholes that could give me leverage. As I delved deeper, I discovered an old, unclaimed road map in county archives. To my surprise, the road my HOA insisted I open my gate for wasn't entirely theirs. Parts of it were technically private, and the records indicated potential purchase options. My curiosity turned into determination. If I could buy that stretch of road, I could control access entirely, not just to my home, but to the thoroughfare the HOA relied on. I contacted the county officials, navigated paperwork that seemed intentionally convoluted, and secured the option to purchase. Every form, signature, and payment moved me closer to flipping the power dynamic. Meanwhile, the HOA remained oblivious, sending emails and letters demanding compliance. Their arrogance was palpable. I could almost sense their frustration building, unaware that their demands were laying the groundwork for their own downfall. Once the purchase was finalized, I changed the locks on my gate and installed reinforced barriers. The road that everyone drove on daily, once an assumed communal passage, was now officially under my ownership. The neighborhood's reaction was immediate and chaotic. Cars that once breezed past my property now stopped, honking and arguing. I stood firm, documenting every incident. Legal advisories confirmed I was within my rights, and the reality slowly sank in. The gate they forced me to consider opening was no longer just a gate. It was the entrance to a road they no longer had free access to. That night, I watched from my porch as neighbors tried to maneuver around the new barriers, realizing the balance of power had shifted irreversibly. The following weeks turned into a tense standoff. The HOA scrambled to organize meetings, attempting to pressure me into some compromise. They underestimated the weight of documentation, contracts, and official ownership, assuming intimidation would work as it had with others in the past. Their emails became more frequent, their letters more threatening, but each one only reinforced the irony. They demanded access, citing convenience and tradition, yet every claim fell apart under scrutiny of property law. My strategy involved meticulous observation. I installed discrete cameras along the road, noting every attempt to circumvent the gate or bypass barriers. Every confrontation, every dispute, every frustrated glance was recorded, creating an undeniable record of intrusion attempts and aggressive behavior. The neighborhood dynamics shifted drastically. People who had once treated me as a passive, compliant homeowner now had to face the reality of negotiation on my terms. Offers came, some genuinely trying to find common ground, others veiled threats thinly disguised as concern. I remained calm, deliberate, and unyielding. The HOA's attempts to involve law enforcement proved futile. Officers reviewed the deeds and contracts and confirmed my ownership, leaving the HOA flustered and powerless. The narrative began to spread quietly in the neighborhood, whispers turning into cautious respect. My gate became more than a symbol of privacy. It was a statement, a testament to understanding and exercising one's rights. People started reassessing assumptions about property, entitlement, and authority, and I found myself at the center of an unexpected revolution of homeowner awareness. As the days turned into weeks, I noticed subtle changes in behavior. The once aggressive HOA representatives now approached cautiously, aware that any misstep could have legal consequences. My cameras captured every movement, giving me a sense of control I had never imagined. Ownership had given me leverage, but I chose to wield it wisely, not vindictively. And just when the neighborhood seemed to be adjusting, an opportunity arose to formalize my advantage further. County authorities offered options to extend my control over adjoining parcels, potentially creating an impenetrable barrier for anyone attempting to bypass my gate. The prospect of total autonomy became increasingly tangible. The transformation was not just physical, it was psychological. I saw the change in people's eyes: respect, frustration, acknowledgement of authority, and begrudging admiration. Conversations that once involved complaints about privacy and inconvenience now revolved around negotiation and recognition of my rights. Neighbors who had flaunted their entitlement now approached with a mix of caution and civility. The HOA's power dwindled, their voice reduced to whispers of procedural insistence, often ignored by members who had begun seeing the merit in my stance. I maintained meticulous records of every interaction, every approach, every attempt to circumvent rules. It wasn't just about the gate anymore. It was about establishing precedent, setting boundaries, and demonstrating that control wasn't just about who spoke loudest in meetings, but who understood and exercised the law. My strategy included periodic adjustments to barriers, subtle reminders of ownership, and open communication with cooperative neighbors. Gradually, a new rhythm emerged. The neighborhood began to accept a new reality. Access had boundaries, and respect for property was non-negotiable. The HOA's letters lost their menace. They became paper exercises in futility, their authority hollow without the legal foundation to back it up. Meanwhile, I explored additional opportunities to solidify my position. Potential property acquisitions nearby promised to expand influence, creating controlled pathways in protected areas. It wasn't revenge in the petty sense. It was a deliberate, strategic consolidation of autonomy, turning an arbitrary gate dispute into a comprehensive exercise of rights and foresight. The balance of power had shifted irreversibly, and I watched with a mix of satisfaction and quiet amusement as those who once sought to control me now faced constraints they hadn't anticipated. As time passed, the narrative of the gate evolved into a story of strategy, persistence, and awareness. The initial outrage faded, replaced by acceptance and curiosity. Neighborhood members debated among themselves the implications of ownership, entitlement, and property law. Some sought advice, others tried to challenge, but all learned a vital lesson. Rules, threats, and assumptions do not override ownership and legal rights. I continued to monitor the area discreetly, ensuring compliance with established boundaries and maintaining calm vigilance. Each day reinforced the value of preparation, documentation, and a willingness to act decisively when circumstances demanded. The HOA eventually adjusted its focus, seeking less confrontational initiatives elsewhere, unable to regain the influence it had once assumed. The gate and the road became symbols, not of hostility, but of clarity, control, and the consequences of understanding one's legal landscape. Ownership had turned a conflict into a lasting lesson, a transformation that rippled through the community quietly but unmistakably. The culmination of this saga arrived as I expanded ownership of adjacent parcels, effectively controlling entry points and redefining neighborhood flow. The HOA's authority over movement and access had been permanently undermined. With strategic signage, legal notices, and thoughtful observation, I established a framework that respected both personal autonomy and communal coexistence, demonstrating that negotiation without legal grounding was powerless. The once aggressive letters now seemed quaint, almost naive. Neighbors had learned to adjust, adapt, and respect property boundaries, while the HOA recalibrated its expectations. The gate that had started it all now stood as a testament to the consequences of overreach, the power of knowledge, and the enduring impact of strategic action. The road that was once assumed public passage now represented a lesson in foresight, patience, and precise execution. Every turn, every barrier, and every observation reinforced the principle that authority is not claimed. It is earned through understanding, action, and persistence. The neighborhood had shifted, power dynamics recalibrated, and my rights established beyond dispute. The saga of the gate, the road, and the HOA became a quiet legend, a story shared in hushed tones, a narrative of empowerment, and a reminder that property, when understood and protected, commands respect. Now, if you enjoyed this story and want to see more HOA drama, outrageous neighbor tales, and epic property battles, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps keep these stories coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned, because the world of neighborhood drama is just getting started.